Good morning, kia ora koto. A very warm welcome to this event organized by French New Zealand Chamber of Commerce and Industry with a presentation on City Rail Link and a focus on digital engineering and building information modeling for project delivery. Welcome to all of you here in Auckland. Very happy to see a full house today. And also to all the people online, whether you are in other cities in New Zealand or joining from other countries. And a very special welcome also to our friends from Australia. My name is Frédéric Cornu. I'm working for City Rail on capital projects in Auckland area. And this is my full-time job. And I'm also a board member of the French Chamber of Commerce and a co-chair of the Building and Infrastructure Committee. Together with me this morning is Benoit Midol, who is working for Downer and is also a board member of the Chamber and co-chairing with me this committee. So today, actually, with Benoit, we are very excited for several reasons. The first one is that today is the official launch of the Building and Infrastructure Committee. And few words on the committee and what's coming actually in the coming months. Basically, the committee is based on 3 pillars. The first one is a social pillar. We are organizing some afterworks called Franchis du Civil. And this was started by Stéphane Besset a few years ago. And the Chamber is happy this year to help on the organization of these social events. Another one we're looking at is that on 18 and 19 November, there is a Building Nation Symposium 2020 in Auckland. And on that occasion, we will organize a coffee and networking event. So stay tuned, and it's coming soon. The second pillar of the committee are the events, and like the one this morning, on specific topics and projects. And the third pillar of our committee are actually site visits. So we're going to see real stuff. And we are planning to have a first site visit on the project called Downtown. That will be in December, most likely. And we will look at other possible site visits. Could be on City Rail Link. We are talking also with Water Care for possible visit of the Central Interceptor tunneling works. The idea overall is to put forward the expertise of our members, the projects they're working on, and also to hear about great topics, great projects in building and infrastructure field. So if you have some ideas on topics that you like to hear about, if you don't receive our emails, or if you want to become a member of the Chamber, please reach out and contact us. Another reason why we are very excited actually this morning is that this event is part of the French, Australia, New Zealand Business Days Week, organized by French Australian Chamber of Commerce with the support of French New Zealand Chamber of Commerce. And finally, we are very excited because we have this presentation on City Rail Link, which is the largest infrastructure project in New Zealand ongoing, and a presentation with a focus on digital engineering and BIM for project delivery. And this will be presented by 3 distinguished speakers. Pierre Bourgeois, who is chairman of the Alliance Board, Brice Godin, BIM manager of the Alliance, and Thibault L'Hôpital, project manager of Mount Eden Station. And this presentation will be followed by a Q&A session. Pierre, the floor is yours.
The detail and the presentation of BIM and digital engineering will be done by my 2 younger colleagues here, Thibault and Brice. Myself, I will give you some information, overall information about the project, and also about the Link Alliance. Yeah, maybe you push the button. Yeah, sure. So you have probably seen already this picture of Auckland and the Link Alliance. You see here in blue the existing railway network, and you recognize Newmarket Station, Farnham, and Britomart. And in orange is our project, the City Rail Link. basically connecting Britomart Station to what we call the North Auckland Line, which is in blue here, at Tonkin Station. So this is a 3.6 kilometer underground railway connection. It's a tunnel, which basically will create a kind of loop around the CBD of Auckland. The fact that this link will be operating will double the capacity of the Auckland network in terms of mass transport, with up to 64,000 passengers per hour. So it's double the capacity. It will also double the number of Aucklanders being able to reach the CBD in less than 30 minutes. So this project is really, like I said, transformational. It will really transform the city. So when you build a link like that, of course, you take the opportunity to create new stations. And we are also constructing 3 new stations. The first one is Aotea, just next to Aotea Square. One is Herod. And the last one is Montellon Station. In fact, there is already a station there. It's a very simple platform, but I will show you a picture. We are redeveloping completely this station. The fact to create new stations in the CBD also will transform the city. And you will see an impression of what can be the development around Montellon, but it will be massive. I'll go to this one. So this is the cross-section of the project, 3.6 kilometers long, from Britomart to Montellon. Britomart, the station, an existing station, it's under the sea level. And Montellon, you see, it's 70 meters above sea level. You see the slope here. We are at the limit of what a train can climb. And this is a challenge today for our engineers, because you see that the platform has to be horizontal. And what is left to climb 70 meters is just enough, 3.8%, which is the maximum possible for a train. And after you have a problem between the wheel and the tracks. Aotea station, in fact, is built underneath Albert Street. It's, I will show you a picture. It's a station which is not very big, 18 meters deep, just underneath the street. Karangahape is a very big station, 42 meters deep. So it has to be built like a tunnel on a shaft. And I will show you a picture. We have already excavated the shaft and we are now tunneling to create the underground platform. Montellon, it's not an underground station, it's open air, but it's 7 meters below ground level. So it will be like inside a big tank. What is also shown in this picture, you will be able to go within 3 minutes from one station to the other one. So in 9 minutes, you will be able to cross the CBD with a train. So let's make the journey to our City Rail Link. We start at Britomart, so you recognize here Britomart. So the train today stops at Britomart and has to reverse back to Parnell and Newmarket, but with the future, they will be able to continue on the other direction. So there is a necessity to build a tunnel underneath the central post office. And this project is almost complete now. It has been realized by Soletanche Bachy is a subsidiary of VINCI and Donor. Very challenging building, I could speak a lot about that, because you can imagine to make a tunnel underneath an heritage building, it's quite complicated. So it's a piece of engineering, only this project. You don't realize when you pass nearby, but it's very interesting project. Then the tunnel go underneath commercial deck, and having a very sharp curve, go underneath the Albert Street. Then we arrive at Aotea station. So here you have the Victoria Street, crossing between Victoria Street and Albert Street. You see the station we are building, 18 meters deep, 15 meters wide. You will have the train going at that level, and here you have the concourse. We are building here, this is the entrance to the station. On Victoria Street, here is the Auckland Council offices. This is a picture of what's happening now. To build this station underneath Albert Street, we have to construct what we call diaphragm walls, which are concrete walls on both sides of the street to be able to excavate the station. So this is okay. Maybe it's better. So this is a high bird. I think it's taken from the top office. This is this is taken from the, I think, the higher level of the City Council office. You see the structure entrance here. This is this building. So this is the equipment to construct the diaphragm wall. Here you can see an illustration of what we can do with BIM to locate. Here I think it's all the utilities on the street. And you can imagine when you construct a station like that under Albert Street, you have a lot of utilities, from water, wastewater, power, communication, whatever, to divert before we can do the job. Let's go to the next station. So here we are at Karangahape. This is Mercury Line, and you know the Mercury. This is also an heritage building. And next to the Mercury, we are building the entrance to this Karangahape station. So this is the entrance. I told you that the station was very deep, 40 meters. So we have already excavated a shaft down to the 40 meters, and from the shaft we will excavate what you see here, the two platforms. On top of the shaft we have erected a noise enclosure, so we will be able to work 24 hours a day, eventually 7 days per week. Last station is the Montenegro station. So you can see here somewhere Britomart. The tunnel will come in and will connect to the North Auckland Line here. This is a new redeveloped Montenegro station connecting to the existing platform which is there. And this image shows you what could be the redevelopment at Montenegro. Today, this looks something like that. So we have excavated here what we call the portal. It is already 25 meters high, and from the bottom of the portal we will have the TBM, which will be launched eventually next year in April. we were speaking about site visit. Just to give you an information, beginning of December, since the date is not fixed yet, but probably 6, 5, 6. It will be a Saturday anyway. It will be open site. So you will be able to enter into the mounted site, see the TBM machine, and probably also see the start of the thing, which was past the previous Sunday. Yeah. So the way to deliver this project is through what we call an alliance. An alliance is a type of contract where you find 7 entities, 3 contractors, VINCI Construction Grands Projets, Soletanche Bachy, with both VINCI Construction Grands Projets and Soletanche Bachy are subsidiaries of the VINCI Group. Donner, which is a very well-known New Zealand company. 3 designers, probably you know the names, AECOM, WSP, and Tonkin and Taylor. And our client, City Rail Link Ltd. We see the City Rail Link Ltd. And we are all working together. So for those who are in the construction, you know that we are used to work in joint venture. And here we can say that we are in joint venture with our client and our designer. So we take all decisions together for the best of the project. And we share everything together. We share the money together. We share the pain. We share the gain. So the principle of the alliance is everybody wins or everybody loses. So this is a very interesting way to deliver very big and complex projects and drive a very interesting dynamic into the project. It's quite successful. So this entity to deliver the project, and of course we have 2 major stakeholders, Auckland Transport. Eventually, Auckland Transport owns the station we are building and will operate the stations, and also operate the trains, as they are doing today. And Kiwi Rail will be the owner of the infrastructure, the tracks in the tunnel. So we construct something which, for this, eventually 2 owners. And it's very important for us to work with these 2 entities because they have what we call a license, which is given by the government regulator to operate a train, to operate safely a train, and to open a new piece of tunnel, new piece of network. The regulator, the government, will have to give this authorization to both Auckland Transport and Kiwi Rail to open this facility to the public. So we have all to work together. So you see, it's a lot of people working together and have to work together to deliver successfully this infrastructure. So, few milestones. The contract has been signed in July last year. We have started the permanent work in February this year at Mount Eden with the piling of the portal. Our TBM has been manufactured in China. It's a German design, but manufactured in China, near Hong Kong. And the manufacture has been completed in August. Then the TBM has arrived 1 week ago in Auckland, started to be delivered on site. And you will be able to see it beginning of December at Mount Eden. And the excavation is scheduled to start in April next year. So we are here to get some information about digital engineering and BIM. And why we are here this morning is that what's happening on this project in terms of digital engineering and BIM is for sure the first in the country at that scale. And it was a very big project, but it's also starting to be recognized globally as at the top or at the edge of the technology, and especially the couple of awards. And Brice is very proud of this one. Last month has been our project in terms of BIM and digital engineering has been given this award, which is a global award by Autodesk. So definitely a lot of very interesting happening on this site in terms of digital engineering, and I think I will let you speak about that, please.
So yeah, thank you, Pierre, for introducing the project. We'll move to. Oops, don't move. We'll move to more digital engineering presentation, and I'll probably start with a definition of BIM because it's just an acronym, but Building Information Modeling is the acronym of BIM, is the definition of BIM, sorry, and building stands for not only vertical buildings, but also horizontal infrastructure. And you can also define it like more like a construction project definition rather than just buildings. The main word in this acronym is information, because what is it is a 3D model that conveys information. And that's what we do in our project. We build a 3D model that will help us to inform various use cases such as project management, cost management, and facilities management, which I will explain. We will explain with Thibault further down the line. And modeling is just not the model itself, but also the process of developing this set of information. In this presentation, we also talk about digital engineering. The limit between BIM and digital engineering is very narrow, very small, and really undefined in the common sense. So usually in our project, when we say digital engineering, it's more focused on design, whereas BIM encompasses design, construction, and operation maintenance. So you see this nice picture here. All right, let's move on. Okay, so in the years of digital transformation, we moved from paper-based project delivery to more technology-oriented delivery. And in early days, when we refer to paper-based delivery, we usually think that there is not too much collaboration, but it's not so true actually. And what you see just a representation of one project in the 70s, where people were still collaborating. But when the individual computers came into our lives, there is a silo thinking that came into the delivery of our projects, which led into a not really integrated approach between design, architects, engineers, and construction teams and supply chain. So the intent of the digital transformation moved from there to here now, and we went through a step where you have people called commonly referred to as geeks that led this transformation, but it's not so true today. All these technologies enable us to work more collaboratively. And that's probably the next point. Where we head to with this digital transformation is you probably have heard about the Industry 4.0, which are a set of emerging trends and technologies that's driving the manufacturing industry. And we have the same in the construction field, where all these technologies that you can see here, like robotics, 3D printing, cybersecurity, simulations, all these trends are shaping the way we work and the way we will work in the near future. And one key point of this is not to be mistaken by the digital transformation and technologies associated to it. That's probably the key point of driving this and driving the journey of moving to digital delivery. Now, to be a bit more clear, we'll go into what we actually implement on this project, and we'll talk about this different items that are here. So, first key point is implementing a common data environment that will host all the data that we develop on the project and be able to implement some use cases for them. So the first use case for that is probably the training people to use this new way of working technology, and then coordinate all the BIM models, BIM designs, perform some design visualizations, help the pre-construction, help the construction methods, help the people on site, bring this technology to site, BIM to site, bring digital tools to site so people can use it in their daily lives, daily job, and in the end, give this whole set of information to our final clients or final users of this handover information. So the intent of today is just go through these different items to show you how effectively we're implementing on projects and how it helps us to deliver the City Rail Link. All right. And the first item will be the common data environment. So I said that the purpose of BIM is to break the silos and enabling people to work together in a common database or common source of truth. And that's what we usually refer to as the common data environment. So this is just the representation of the technologies that we use on our project. With every project that implements BIM has a similar approach where they put all the information in a single source, and you have to see this as like more an ecosystem of tools working together. And what is key in our project is that since we have this common source of truth, we are able to harvest the data that comes from it. So you see this Microsoft SharePoint in the middle is that where we store all the information and where we are able to get all data and do our business analytics. You see a small picture showing the Power BI thing as just a tool that enables us to get the data and visualize it and make sound decisions based on this data harvesting. And more than that is also enabling people to do the data harvesting themselves, not only having a BIM guy on the side doing all the digital tools, but having people involved in using the data that they are producing. Quality assurance data, cost data, project management data, many things that we can go through in this presentation. In infrastructure projects, BIM is also closely linked to GIS. If you don't know about GIS, Geographical Information System is a technology similar to BIM, but that applies more into horizontal infrastructure. And what we have in our project is BIM and GIS are integrated, although we have less use of GIS because tunneling works do not apply so well to GIS, but still we have all integrated in the same environment. What you see here is the location of boreholes in the project, and those boreholes are located, and all the data associated to it are in the same place. So geotechnical engineers can access those boreholes data and do their analytics. All right. Next topic is how do we train people to be able to use this new emerging trends and technologies. So we have put together a set of trainings and support to enable the different teams of the project to use it. So in this project, we have design, engineering, construction, project controls, environment, sustainability, communications, and our team and then is central to support all these different entities. And we developed custom trainings and provided support to those different different teams for BIM software mainly. And what you see here, we have almost 250 people trained to date, but it's going to grow up. It's going to grow, especially when the supply chain will be fully on board. At the moment, we are getting supply chain on board, like subcontractors and suppliers, and it's going to be growing in the next couple of years. So we expect some trainings to do. And that's what you see here, the number of trainings that we provide every month. We see it to phase out towards the end of the project, but still we have some work to do in that regard. We have a dedicated training room, a computer-based training room, where we provide those training. We have 6 seats, and every week we have people coming there. Subcontractors, suppliers come to get those trainings. The next step is to be able to deliver, first of all, the design model. So what we have in our team is we have a team of software developers that developed in the software that we use, the BIM modeling software. In this case, you see this is Revit, this is the main design authoring tool in our project. And we have a team of developers that develop plugins in this software to cover for some shortcomings, because Revit is like mainly of a building tool, but when it comes to tunneling, it's very difficult to model Revit. So we developed this plugin. What you see here is the placement of cable trays in the tunnels, which is not easy with the regular tools of the software. We have to develop this, and it's quite good actually, because usually when we develop plugins, we go outsource. We ask a specific developer outside of the team to develop for us. But here in this project, we have people with this capability, which is great in user. The next approach is probably a bit more common, but still. What you see here on the left side is our coordination meetings. They happen. Sorry? Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay. The coordination meetings. What they want to see here, what you want to see here is our model is the central truth, and having this during the COVID era, COVID pandemic period was really crucial, because since everything moved online, we were able to pursue the design, not the reconstruction activities during level 4, but at least the design and engineering was still happening during this COVID. I'll move a bit more faster. 1 minute. The idea is here. What you see here is the data harvesting for BIM issues. So what you see here is the issues per area. We are able to say and to manage the coordination issues that we see in our model, and having this in a data-oriented approach rather than spreadsheets is really great. What I show here in this slide is that we have a model, a digital model, which is designed, but we also integrate all site data back to this point, so we can compare current and accurate site conditions with the design model. So what you see here on the left side is the planned station in Karangahape, and what you see also is the aggregation of point cloud data, and we can compare point cloud data with the design. And what you see here is the shaft associated, the temporary shaft that Pierre Bourgeois was mentioning before. Very crucial for us to merge physical assets and digital assets. An example of art, you're diving into the TBM now, tunnel boring machine, and we develop health and safety environment, virtual reality environment for our people on site, for them to have to understand what is TBM and what are the hazards in a TBM. Very important, because this is not these works are not usual in New Zealand and even everywhere in the world. So having this virtual environment is really helping to understand how the construction will be happening, and also it's much cheaper for training. Rather than doing training in a facility, having this virtual environment is quicker and cheaper. So we work closely with with HFT teams. And this is another example in where we were wrong.
That's my time now. So let's give you an example. Let's give you an example of the way we use the BIM model and the information we've got. Provide information regarding the staging of the work. So you've got obviously the drawing that are done for the project, but you can see that sometimes the staging of the work. So if we can maybe start it again, it would be quite interesting. So we see, for instance, for that project, we've decided to produce a drawing showing what will be the state of the single line running in Monteville on the North Auckland Line, so that both the stakeholders, the neighbors, and the train driver can see what they're going to face during construction. So you can see we've installed that hoarding. That hoarding is on now. It's been installed in the last couple of months since the single line running is operating. And basically, the information which you can see is a mix of the current design of that stage, but also the point cloud information slightly enhanced by the team of waste. So that gives almost for the drivers, it gives almost like a training to make sure they know exactly what it will look like for what will be the next 15 months of their job. So that's one of the way we work on those things. So on a practical term as well is all the data that is collected by the BIM team and the digital engineering is all the design quantity takeoff. So obviously, Brice insists that all the drawings are updated and federated, and then everything is collated, and we can see the evolution of the quantities. That's something we've used in our reforecast. We can see to monitor the progress of the design and potentially value engineer if needed. That's a very valuable tool. So that's also one of the reasons why it's very important that all the information gets collated properly in the model to make sure we can rely on those information. Yeah. So that's another view. So it's basically the same type of model I've showed you with the video earlier, but that's instead of focusing on what will be the work in the coming months or year, you can see what we call the west and grade separation. So that's basically the tie-in between the North Auckland Line and the station. So if I go close to the screen, I'll try with the microphone. When you look at the trench there, the trench is the continuation of the platform that we are building for the station. So as Pierre was saying, the platform is underground but doesn't have any cover. It's a trough, a bit like Newlyn Station, for instance, for people that are familiar with it. And basically what we're building into stages is those tracks. So one of the tracks is going to cross over and the other one is going to go on the left, and the trench rise in the middle and tie in something like 400 meters further there. It's something that is very, very hard to visualize on drawings. On 2D, you see a spaghetti of tracks, and in cross section, it's very, very hard to comprehend. When you put something like this, to me, it makes a lot more sense. And it's a very good tool also for people that live nearby. They can see their balcony there. The picture is very realistic of what the project will look like in 3 years. Same thing on Normanby Road. So that's basically here. You're further east, and you're coming, and you've got the track on the left. We continue to the existing LL platform where you could, use the platform, and the track in the middle is going down and will grade separate underneath the platform. So that one is the one that lies 3% down, like I mentioned, and is the deepest part of the project. And is going to be something like 30 meters under the level of the existing portal. And you've got the track coming back from the other tunnel that will join again Normanby Road in here. So that's again a very hard, information to understand without the 3D. So that one don't need to press on. So yeah. So that's also one of the video that we produced both for the stakeholder, but to be honest, it was quite useful for some people from my team that were new in the project. so they could understand how we build the portal. So the idea is to integrate the methodology into a 4D principle to show the evolution of the work in time. So what we see here is the fact that because of the gradient of the road, we have to install platform and then start the piling from the top and go down to the next platform, etc., etc. So that's the type of information that doesn't compare very well on 2D. And even for people like media work, so TV3, which are literally just next door, that's the building you can see on the top left, explaining them because they could see from their window was making a lot of sense and help them to, just see what was coming and was very, very useful. So that's the type of use that we've got on the project. So that one is really to show, and as Brice was saying, it's a complete mix of existing survey. So what you can see on the outside here, which is very much in color, is the point cloud survey that we do. So we do a drone flight every month at least. We use it to measure the quantity and the progress as a record. And it's basically, that one is a mix of the design of the ground retention to build the tunnel, but also the site installation for the tunnel. So what you can see here is what is our offices here, car park. What will be the technical area to support the tunnel boring machine? The spoil shed, which is at the bottom here, which is a building which has not started yet, and then the segment storage. So if you went on site now, you could see all those retaining walls of the portal and of the segment storage, but a lot of groundwork for utility. So that's a very good depiction of what the site will look like in April for that picture. And then you've got other view to give you a bit of a view. So that's a view which is great taken from up high. That if you are standing on the top of the platform, you'll be looking at the portal this way. So at the moment it's looking pretty much like this, except that you don't have the segments stored in that location. You can see also the conveyor, which is running from the right. So that's the conveyor that will remove the spoil from the tunnel boring machine. So basically that will run all inside the tunnel, and all the operation will be working 24/7 and dump it in the spoil shed. And so that's a very good way of explaining to neighbors and people or visitors or people that are interested how the tunnel operates. And same, so here you're literally on top of the future tunnel, cut and color tunnel, which is a part of my scope, but it's also used as the access ramp to bring the TBM down for both tribes. So what's important to understand is the TBM gets assembled here, goes all the way to Aotea, and then it comes back in Mount Eden. So twice we have to accommodate the whole logistic of reassembly. So yeah, I think pretty much there. So that's another way of looking at it. So that's something that when you integrate the kind of survey software with the BIM, you can literally have some tools which connect the model to almost like a camera that you're using in real time. So you can see here, we already had done the portal, so you can see in gray. It lines up exactly with the design, so you can see we see what has been done, and you can see that it was done very, very, very good, which is good. But you can also see the future tunnel. So what you see here is not very easy to see there, but that's the future structure we build once the TBM is finished. We have to build that junction, that kind of spaghetti junction for the train. So that's something that could be very, very easy to explain to people. You have the model, you look with a camera, and you can see and you can select what you want to see and see how the site will be in the future. So that's quite interesting. And then we've got other initiatives here, which is the digital totem. So basically, they are a little workstation with a computer and a big screen made available on site to make sure that people can don't have to go back to the office, don't have to print too much, and access information on site. So that goes from, I think you said SharePoint, Aconnect, Navis Word. So you can really look at all the information without going out of site, which is good. Yes.
Thank you, Shimo. And yeah, continue this journey with the digital partners that we have to ship from overseas, but arrived on site and now worked on all 3 stations, which is great milestone for us because now we have the capability to show with site teams and HAC people to have access data and documents. And the next slide is a bit more business as usual, but having tools to access data, drawings, documents on site is really important. And this is just some screenshots from our mobile app platform where we access those information. But I think this you already work with it widely, globally, not only in New Zealand. And the last step of our journey is to be able to collect data and provide our final clients with what they require for their own works, for operations and maintenance. So we have a workflow where we get GIS data, our document management system outputs, BIM, all the site reporting and surveys in a single platform that goes to City Rail Transport, City Rail Auckland Transport and Downer Maintenance for their own use, and for them to use it in the CMMS. So CMMS is computerized maintenance management system. Is the way the system they use for planning maintenance. And in real terms, what is it? It's now a platform where we collect this and we add asset information data, so we can build their asset register, and they are able to take over from there. And having this is quite important when somebody wants to build a digital twin. So the digital twin being the representation of assets during the operations and maintenance of a facility. So this gives an overview of what we do on the project. Obviously, it was very short and in a nutshell, but we're happy to provide more details and comments. What I would like to say probably now is that this is a very large project with various teams, design, construction, different contractors, different design teams, and we come as a single alliance and single team, which is great. We rely on overseas expertise, but also on local talent, local partners. I get a team of 14 people now, and half of the team has been trained here in Auckland. Half of the team has graduated from Auckland University or AUT, both of these schools, and it's really great to build something locally with people coming from all the world. It's good. All right, that's it for us.
Thank you, thank you, Pierre, thank you, Brice. Great presentation, very insightful. We'll open the floor for questions now. And Vincent, if there are some questions also from the participants online, just let us know and we'll be happy to answer them. So, is there a question in the audience? Yes? Good. So what were the biggest changes so far? I can't answer.
Changes or challenges? Challenges. Obviously, pandemic has played a big role. But as we were saying, having this environment ready before the pandemic has really helped us to go through this period. I think the pandemic has more impacts on resourcing, and when we rely on resources, obviously it's very difficult in these times because BIM requires special skills, and not only in the BIM team. I'm talking in the project. People need to use digital tools and understand those processes. So I believe that's the main challenge. That's the question I got. Oh, sorry. And so. Question about how much BIM costs and how to measure this. That's a question I got from when I started BIM like 8 years ago. All my managers asked me how much does it cost. It's very difficult to answer because all projects are different. we have a few figures, ratios, but it's really depending on so many factors, on the teams, on what exactly we implement. It's really difficult to say at this point. But what I can say is that on this project, we have one of the highest requirements, BIM requirements globally. I was working in London, and Middle East before, and even there, where it's pretty wide used, the requirements are not that high, and that's really great to come in a project where there is so much emphasis on it, and that we are able to develop that much. Sorry, I couldn't answer too much on the cost aspects, but yeah. So, did we develop the plugins just for that project? Yes, we did for this particular specific project. So, this specific plugin was developed by our design partner to help their design production. But they indeed developed this plugin. It's about 8,000 lines of C# development, so it's pretty big. But it saved us 3,000 hours of design hours, so it's pretty impressive. We are thankful to have a high-performing design team in the Link Alliance. So all these 40 visualization just for communication, or actually worked with program team? The answer is yes. We work closely with program team. So the 40 that you saw on coming from the P6, the Primavera P6 program, and we work weekly with the programmers to update those simulations with the updates that they do in the programming tool. And we review with construction team on each site, on Tonkin and Karangahape station, to review the program and see any difficulties faced to
the tendering of this project with the Alliance and the requirements for BIM and digital engineering. Did you put specific things inside that were surprising for you? Did you go further? And how does it compare to major international projects? Actually?
All right. So I was saying that the requirements are very comparable to the UK or Middle East. That's true. And the emphasis was that the client required it from the beginning to. And the emphasis was on the link to operation maintenance. So, everything what we do is to serve our future clients, and that's really where CRL, our client, Transport and QRL have stakes. So that's where we focus really.
Okay, so a very big thank you to Pierre, Brice, and Thibaut for this presentation this morning. Very, very insightful. We may have further questions just around the coffee or after this, but thank you everyone for coming today, and thank you for everyone online, and have a great day. Bye.